Today is our last morning in Krakow. We're in the train station right now on our way to Warsaw. We had a really delicious breakfast today at the hotel. They had pickled herring and also this salad that I really liked. It's about a 2.5 hour ride to Warsaw. Give us some time to catch up on vlogging and things like that. We've arrived in Warsaw almost 3 hours later. We made it to our absolutely beautiful apartment, very modern, completely different from where we stayed in Krakow. This super ugly communist-era building is called the Palace of Culture and Science, and it's been known colloquially as Stalin's penis. Warsaw actually reminds me a lot of Berlin because of the communist-style architecture. Our first attraction is going to be the National Museum. Now we're back exploring the Royal Way, the main road that has most of the attractions in Warsaw. We decided to stop into this very traditional milk bar with only Polish on the menu, and are just getting some soup to try and some millet. I didn't want to talk inside, but what you just saw in this church is where Chopin's heart is buried, just his heart. We've arrived at the old town now. This was completely destroyed in World War II and reconstructed thereafter. And we'll go inside to visit the royal castle. This is the old town square, the market square. It's really pretty. Would be a lot nicer though if the weather were a bit more cooperative. And right on the main square, this is the restaurant we're going to visit tonight. It's really romantic looking. This is one of the most beautiful restaurants I've ever visited. I got this beautiful looking whole stuffed trout, and this is a Polish duck with a big apple. We're back near Central Station. Because of the rain, we're going to do another indoor activity and check out this mall. Good morning! It's a new rainy morning in Warsaw. The first thing we're visiting today, we're back at the palace. In other words, Stalin's penis. To have a look inside. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning and we're going to have breakfast at this super popular, super trendy restaurant called Chipude Barrack. It's a modern Israeli restaurant. There's already a line waiting outside before the opening. This is what Warsaw is known for, its trendy food scene. This is what we came for. Look at this spread of meze. That was one amazing restaurant. In fact, it was definitely by far my favorite restaurant in Poland so far. We're walking through this urban park now on our way to the Jewish Museum. Here we are at the museum right at its opening, and it happens to be free entrance today. There's even a replica of a wooden synagogue here. This is one incredible museum. Definitely one of the best that I've been to in Europe, in my opinion. That was an incredible museum. We were actually in there for over 3 hours, just going through the audio guide tour and looking at all the different exhibitions. But the weather has finally cleared up a little bit, so we're going to head back to the old town where we were yesterday and do some more exploring there. We decided to get this traditional snack, zapiekanka. We're walking right along the banks of the Vistula River, heading south towards Wazinski Park. Isn't this just beautiful? And here's the view from the front of the palace on the Isle. I cannot believe this, but the sun is actually coming out. What a difference. Here's the other big attraction of this park. This is the Chopin monument. After days and days of rain, I can't tell you how happy this sun makes me. A short walk away from the park is this super trendy area of downtown. We're gonna find some dinner here and do some bar hopping and exploring. We've had quite a bit of Polish food in the last couple of days. So for our last dinner in Poland, we're actually going to a Georgian restaurant. It might sound kind of strange, but there's a lot of them around here. And it's not something you find easily in the US, so I'm really curious. Here it is, Rusiko. Look at this appetizer plate of so many different dips. Now we're moving on to the dolma, stuffed with meat. We're off to a bar now called Beirut, where they actually also have a hummus bar in addition to drinks. That was such an interesting experience. It was just a really rowdy bar full of locals, but serving hummus and another Middle Eastern fare. And today is Friday, a final good morning to Poland. We're actually going to a museum, the Warsaw Uprising Museum, this morning, and then we're off to the airport to take our flight to Turkey. Poland has been a surprisingly amazing destination. It's not something that I would have necessarily put on the top of my list of a place I'd have to travel to, but I just had such a great time with everything. All the wonderful museums, the food scene, the very, very cheap prices. I just loved so many things about Poland. Just maybe not the weather. Here's the museum, which is actually open at 8 in the morning, incredibly. That was yet another great museum, but unfortunately that was our last attraction here in Warsaw. Before we leave for the airport though, we still have to get breakfast, and we're going to make one last visit to a milk bar. This area of the city is just absolutely full of office parks. This is a hard-working city indeed. Here we are at Chopin Airport, waiting for our flight to Istanbul.